wake up, I'm tripping down the hallway. You're looking like a vision, you're talking and I listen. We run away like always. So cut the headlights, keep rolling till the sun. We'll fight the good fight when tomorrow has come. And it's easy pretending we're alright, 'cause we live free, at least until the light. Until the light, 'cause we live free, until the light. Until the light, 'cause we live free. Speeding on the end roads, surfing out the window. There's a fire in your eyes. It's hard to say what I know, or leaving I don't wanna go, 'cause every time a piece of me dies. So cut the headlights, keep rolling till the sun. We'll fight the good fight when tomorrow has come. And it's easy pretending we're alright, 'cause we live free, at least until the light. Until the light, 'cause we live free, until the light. Until the light, 'cause we live free. 'Cause we live free, at least until the light. We waste time, we'll never get back. I don't care, don't wanna go back. I love you, I know you knew that. I don't love the way you do that. So cut the headlights, keep rolling till the sun. We'll fight the good fight when tomorrow has come. And it's easy pretending we're alright, 'cause we live free, at least until the light. Until the light, 'cause we live free, until the light. Until the light, 'cause we live free, until the light. Until the light. Go on till the light. Until the light.
On you in the light, it helps me feel my own.
Alrighty, welcome everybody to the Fantasy Golf Bag live stream for Liberty National, the Northern Trust, the first leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. I am Drew, Red Kachik, also known as, and Jacob is joining us this evening, known as JK Ray ASU. New follower Ruffles, thanks man, appreciate that. And Jacob, how's everything going, man? We got 120 one-man field, 70 in ties make the cut, so not too bad. We can handle that. And then look at Mike just gifting subs to Jedlow12. Jedlow, welcome to the subscriber base. I don't know what we call it. I guess you're still considered a bagger, I assume. So Mike, appreciate that, man. But yeah, we get 121 man field, 70 in ties. Next week drops down to 70, so no cut, and then 30 man field for the Tour Championship, which again, probably beating a dead horse, but it's probably just going to be showdown stuff. Not even sure if they do that, to be honest, just because the way the leaderboard is going to be, with Brooks most likely having a lead, or whoever walks away with the lead in the FedEx Cup next week. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I assume they have some type of contest, and then Euro is right around the corner, so I know we're excited for that. I don't know if Nick is in the chat, but he's a big Euro player as well. But yeah, we got some fun stuff in store for the Euro season as it kind of kicks back up after this little lull. So, Jacob, how's everything going for you, man? You about ready?
Yeah, no, it's I wouldn't say it's a little bittersweet, but obviously we're coming down to the end of this rolling season. We got a couple tournaments left, and really the Tour Championship is 30-man field. Next week is essentially a no-cut event as well. So this truly, I think, is our last cut of the year. And last time the cut is T70 in ties, so that's interesting. But but no, I'm looking forward to it. Just excited about some good golf. I'm really interested in this new playoff format, especially on the final event, and to see how this sort of everybody starts at a particular under par scoring, see how that works out. And I'm a little on the fence about it. I think it has some positives, but also it has some drawbacks. But overall, I mean, the quality of golf that we've seen this year, thus far, a lot of first-time winners. It's been a great year, so excited to close it out strong, and like you said, jump onto some Euro, and then before you know it, fall swing will start. So
yeah, speaking of Euro, I did see Nick in there, and then it was Nick. Man, Nick, about missed you, man. So Nick just donated $10. Appreciate that. He says pre-funding bagger Euro content. Yeah, I know. Axe has been. He just actually got a new job, so congrats to Axis. He'll be able to do some more Euro content for us, and like I said, a couple other things in store that we kind of released at the latter part of that swing towards the British Open for the Euro stuff. Obviously, now they've been out for about 3 or 4 weeks, and we're excited to kick that back up too. They actually kind of hit a high point here in a few weeks, but that's not the concern. The concern this week is the Northern Trust, and let's see. Yeah, we want winners to pay for NFL. There's a ton going on, man. There's I play pretty much every sport besides WNBA, which just wasn't very fun. Even though I don't watch a lot of the sports I play anyways, it wasn't very fun to put those lineups together or research. So pretty much play everything else. So yeah, definitely NFL is on the horizon. WNBA, it's bad, man. There could be an edge there. I'm not willing to try. It's so awful.
That's a tough one to find for sure.
I mean, people are probably like me and don't really care, so maybe they just like throw in some random lineups off of some website they subscribe to or look at the average fantasy points. So there's probably an edge somewhere, but not for me. I don't care. Yeah, Robert Reeder won 100K in MLB last night, or R Reeder is his username. So a lot of fun stuff. I know there's a little bit of talk on the weather, which I thought was really interesting. Obviously, a ton of rain today. Was actually on a call with someone in New Jersey earlier today and was getting hammered with rain. So the course should be softer. I know the rough was down a little bit from the word on the street. I know Pat Mayo was up there, so it's cool to see some of those videos and pictures. I think scoring, so looking at last year, so it was a cool tidbit I saw Josh Colt post earlier today or this evening. So the winning score back in 2013 was 11 under par. They were actually 11 under par through 36 holes and finished at 11 under par. So I assume we're going to see a little bit of that this week. I still don't think the scoring will get, I've heard some people say closer to 15 under, which may be the case with the rough being down, but did want to point that out that even with the lower scoring, I don't think it changes any of your kind of ideas or thoughts around how you're trying to plan for this week. But if they do go out and shoot low scores tomorrow, maybe Friday, even on 2013, it really didn't get windy, so the course should firm up pretty quick. It's on a landfill. I've only played, I told Nick this, I think. I played Bayonne, which is literally right down the street from there. It's also on a landfill, but it's extremely nice, and it's hard and fast. So if they did get some rain and it is a little bit softer, I'm sure even right next to the water, it drains pretty well and dries out pretty quick. So I would be willing to bet it's somewhere in that 12, 13 under category when it's all said and done. So yeah. Any other kind of big thoughts for you on this week? Golf course in general, obviously some guys to talk through here in a bit, but a lot of twin swag with Woodland, and then a lot of guys just, I mean, we talked about Lowry a little bit coming back from being drunk for a few weeks. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, any other kind of thoughts before we kind of dive in here?
Nothing really pressing, I should say. I checked the weather for the first time, really, I guess earlier this morning, and there, are some opportunities for some wind shifts, but certainly we can dive into those a little bit. As far as how it played 6 years ago, I mean, I think that information is good to consider, potentially use as tie breaks, but it's really a unique course where the way that it's rotating, it's hard to. I mean, you can pull from those performances, but
yeah,
some players are completely different players than they were back then. Needless to say, I'm looking a lot at form this week going into these guys. Normally, I weigh course history and form pretty evenly, maybe form like 60-40, something like that. But for me this week, I'm really leaning heavily on form and using perhaps some past experiences here. Again, like I said, it's a tie break. So, but excited to get into it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and pull up the weather a little bit. You mentioned you kind of took a glance at it. I just took a glance at it a little bit ago and just refreshed it, so I can go ahead and pull that up. We can take a peek. I don't have any dresses as my promotional items this week. It's only clear glasses. Didn't know there was any other type of glasses, but yeah, I don't have any overweight girl dresses here, which is a fantastic plus from last week. Pardon the pun. Okay. So Thursday, yeah, awful. Thursday and Friday. Thursday weather looks pretty good. Wind picks up a little bit in the afternoon, but nothing crazy. Again, showdown wise, if you are playing showdowns, yeah, I must be blind. I'm not sure how they're targeting me for glasses, Mike. Yeah, the morning should be pretty nice. The whole day should be nice. Like 12 to 15. It is. I mean, it's obviously increased from the morning, but I don't see that as a big deal. So I'll go ahead and move on to Friday. Friday is really interesting. Girls that like golf, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Mike used to have that username, I think. So Friday, again, the weather looks pretty good. The interesting gusts, like 7, 8, 9. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not sure where that kind of falls into play because you can look through the nighttime hours. I guess they get a storm around 9 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, and maybe that's what's carrying over. But again, I think most of the winds are going to be sub 10 miles per hour, 10%. Wow. So again, I don't see a big edge weather-wise, stacking full week slates. Again, showdown stuff, always try to hit the AM guys. They should have a little bit better conditions, especially Thursday. Maybe Friday there's a case to be made for getting a little bit later tee time possibly, but no weather. I mean, it should be nice. 82 degrees, extremely nice. Hopefully this is good Tiger Woods weather. But yeah, I don't see a lot. The wind looks fine. No rain. Going to be a good weekend of golf.
Yeah, I think, like you said, outside of really, potential for, the winds picking up a little bit tomorrow afternoon, they stay pretty steady throughout on Friday. It doesn't really look like any drastic. I mean, that morning time frame is a little suspect, but it's so hard to determine, how those are going to come into play, what effect they'll have. But overall, like you said, good weather. No rain in the forecast. I think I had talked to Orange earlier today. I asked him, local guy there, what was going to happen. And similar to, I think, forecast over the past weekend in Greensboro for the Wyndham, it was just, warm and chance of sort of afternoon thunderstorms to roll through. So where the course is positioned, obviously there's a little bit more susceptible to wind, which I think is why we're seeing that increase in wind speeds there in the afternoon and then pretty much for the most part on Friday. But overall, like you said, I think weather's going to be good. Should see some good golf.
Yeah, shout out to Orange Man. Was able to finagle some tickets out of Harold Varner III. Congrats for finagling. Mike donating little titty bitties, 5 pride flags. Appreciate that. Just trying to rep the brand, man. So, I mean, Mike's donating a lot. I don't know if we keep a tab. He's the highest this week, obviously, because we only do one live stream a week. But I think you've donated probably 10 or 12 subscriptions to people. So a reminder to those who have not yet subscribed to the Twitch feed, which is what you're on right now, unless you're watching on Periscope or YouTube or something. But you can head over to twitch.tv/redkachik. That's where all this chat that you'll see feeding up on some of these pages. That's where all these people are at. And if you have a Amazon Prime account, you get a free Twitch subscription. So you don't have to use it on us. You can use it on someone else if you want to support their channel. But you do have a free one at your disposal. Feel free to click the subscribe button and you can use it. So let's go ahead and kind of transition. I'm going to kind of kick back and forth. I was thinking about using the extended approach sheet, but we talked about that last week. There you go. He gifted 3 more subs. So he must be having a good night in MLB. Or a bad night. He needs some good karma.
Yeah. Probably both.
Yeah. So talking through like extended approach, we'll work from the bottom up, and then we'll try to get through. Again, only 121 guys, so it's not too bad. How do you mute all these?
Getting blown up with them.
Yeah, do you not hear it? It may just come through for me, which is
better. Yeah, no, I can't hear it.
That's good. So looking at like the extended approach is one guy that we obviously talked about a couple weeks ago at the WGC St. Jude was Adam Long. I really was trying to scrape the bottom this week, trying to find some people that looked like potential just extreme values on DraftKings. There's not very many. Like my first pass through, I didn't play Adam Long last week. I played him obviously a lot at the St. Jude, worked out pretty well. But then looking back at last week in his numbers, I mean, he kind of showed the same irons again. He was over 11% of his approaches inside of 6 feet, 36% inside of 18 feet. He actually gained strokes on the field per round on approach, and he also gained about 2 greens in regulation against the field last week. So again, different style course, but I kind of like his style of play with the less than driver mentality. So like when you talk about Woodland having a good run here, kind of with the pebble mentality, I think Adam Long does have a distinct advantage. If he's positioning it well off the tee, these irons are fantastic. I mean, if you go back to a longer term sample, I mean, he's basically averaging 25% of his approach shots inside of 12 feet. So he's having a quarter of his birdie opportunities inside of 12 feet, which is pretty good. That's better than everybody up to like a Ben On or something like that in this low range. So
yeah,
keep that in mind. That was one guy that stood out. I don't know if you had any really cheap guys. I really didn't have a need to go down this far, but I did want to kind of mention that. I think the only other one I had exposure to that was like sub 6,500 was Sloan. Sloan's been playing awesome. His numbers in our extended approach data that you can find on the website has been nearly elite, even with his weaker fields he's playing against. For the value in a smaller field with a higher chance of making the cut, like last week was over 45% of his shots inside of 18 feet. So continuing to play well with the irons. If you're looking for values, that's kind of what you look for. That was kind of the Svensson reason last week, and the reason why not to play Hickok. Heyo. Nick Ferrone was able to sneak that one through. Thank you. I was man, if he would have kept that run going, I think it was like 6 under or 5 under through 10 holes or something like that. Felt awful. So glad he blew up for us. But any thoughts for you, Jacob, in this really low 6K range? I know Axis mentioned Troy Merritt. I looked into him. He's just been so inconsistent. I don't think I can get behind that. But Sloan and probably Adam Long are the 2 really, really cheap guys that I would be willing to throw out there as potential salary savers if you need it for some reason.
Yeah. So Sloan obviously popped as well for me, just looking at extended approach. Harold Varner intrigues me a little bit. His approach numbers really outside of, within 6 feet look really strong over his last 5 events. Let me pull that up really close. So within 6 feet, obviously it's not that strong of a number, but less than 12 feet, it's 23%. Less than 18, it's almost 41%, and then less than 24 feet, over 52% of his approaches have been inside of 24 feet in the last 5 events. He had a decent outing last week. I don't know if, maybe he's found a little something, but Varner always seems to be one of those guys that I get excited about playing, and then he just misses the cut or something. I will clarify, he was 60th, finished 60th last week. So not that great, but he did make the cut. He's made a couple cuts. His best finish really in the last few months was at the Travelers 21st. So I could stand that a little bit. Like I said, Sloan, I like that call, but really, under 6,500, I don't have a ton of interest. I won't really find myself there. Mm-hmm. It's really honestly the sort of 65 and up, right around the 7K range that I've got a couple guys that I'm interested in.
Yeah. You can move up to them. I mean, my big one up there, I think, is going to be Substraka, and Landry is probably going to be the main one that I would be targeting. He's coming off really good finishes. His irons have been good. Again, like I said on the podcast this week, I think the distance is an advantage from a profile standpoint. Like if you look at the guys that are longer off the tee, that gain strokes off the tee, they don't need to. They don't have to hit as many heavy clubs like a Kisner would have to hit a 3-wood to keep up with DJ's 2-iron or something like that. Maybe even more club. But so even though Landry's not the longest guy, I still like the way his irons look coming in here. I think the priority for me, especially on these cheap guys, is irons. But that's probably, I mean, Sep's been fine. He's been very consistent. Green regulation numbers been high. Mm-hmm. And I guess Matt Hughes would be the only other consistent one. But for like an actual solid looking play, I mean, you can see like Landry right here, and you got guys above him, Adam Scott, Webb Simpson. This is the last 5 tournaments, and he is in the 87th percentile, and he's 6,700. I don't think there's anyone around 6K. You got Ryan Palmer there, who kind of faded last week. Cameron Tringali, who we haven't seen in a few weeks. But, Landry right next to Wolf, Reevy, Laird, Simpson, Scott, Streelman. Like, a lot of guys have been playing well.
You looking at approach or finishing or what?
So I got the rolling stats up. I'm just looking at the last 5 tournaments.
Okay.
So who's your guys in this tier?
So right around here, I do like Straka. I was actually on him last week and have played him a decent bit. Really in the last 2 rounds of last week's tournament, the putter kind of bit him a little bit, which I think is something that most of us that have been playing him was expecting at some point. We know he's long off the tee. We know he hits the ball pretty well. So that wasn't very surprising. But it's fun to see. A heck of a ball striker, like you said. Hits a lot of greens. Mackenzie Hughes also is a guy I was on last week that I don't mind going back to at his price. I just think 6,500 is kind of crazy for a guy who has had some really good finishes. Looking at it real quick.
Yeah, I wrote him up on RotoGrinders. I think he had like 6 finishes inside the top 22 this year.
22nd last week. He missed the cut by a stroke at the John Deere, and prior to that, got a 21st, 51st, 14th, 8th. Hit the ball really well. I don't mind going back to Mackenzie Hughes at all. And then going up just a little bit higher, I think Cameron Tringale at 6,600 is another guy I could get behind. And then at an even 7K, I'm really big on some Russ Henley this week. Also like Knox a little bit, but I think Henley is my guy. He's been playing some really solid golf his last 3 or 4 events. Finished T2 at John Deere. His really all the numbers that we're focusing on this week over that time frame, weighted green in regulation, birdie or better percentage, approach numbers, strokes gained, field differential, all these things. He's just grading out really, really well in all those categories. So
yeah.
Henley at 7,000, even 7,000 is the guy I'm really on.
Yeah, Steph's been on a streaky little run. Like looking through. Oh man. Thank you, Nick. I actually just missed Nick. So Nick subscribed through the Amazon Prime, and now he has gifted 2 subs to Giant Beer and then in Kelowna 20. So thanks again to Nick. This is fantastic. We should just go 24 hours at this rate. Yeah, Mike is inspiring. He does the good karma, and that's how he wins these 15K tennis slates. So, yeah, so Steph's been on an interesting run. He's been on a couple of the alternate field events since the British Open. The John Deere was not an alternate field event, but it was the week prior. Since then, the Barbasol Barracuda Wyndham last week, he's gone 3rd, 12th, 39th, 84% of greens in regulation, 80% green regulation, and then 73% green regulation last week. I didn't look at his extended approach last week. Not sure if it really stood out. Yeah, inside of 6 feet it was not, but overall still, around even gaining strokes on approach. So not a big pop, a little bit of a decrease, but still the green regulation numbers was level with the field. So not a negative by any means for a cheaper guy. If this was Webb Simpson last week, I'd probably think twice.
Yeah.
All right, let's move up into kind of that low 7K tier. I think I've gone back and forth in this range quite a lot. I know you mentioned, who was that? Someone at 7K even. Oh, Henley. But outside of that, anybody that really stands out. I mean, there's a lot of good names, but really no one that really does it for me this week. JT Poston in there, coming off a win last week. Brian Harmon, Kyle Stanley have shown some decent ball striking results of late, but nothing just crazy good that makes me want to play them. So I think I pretty much avoided this entire area besides Furyk, and then gone up to Sung Jae. Obviously, Leishman I talked about. Woodland has a little bit of my interest, and Neiman right there in the middle. So this low end 7K range, man, I don't have a lot of interest. I mean, it kicks out a lot of guys in the player pool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have any thoughts in this range, but for me, I think that started the reason why I started digging into that low 6K range, because I wanted to get a little bit weird. If I could grab an Adam Long through the cut, I could literally play like 3 or 4 9K guys with basically a 6K guy. It's a very unique lineup build, I think, and having 3 9K guys, I think I had 1 Adam Scott in there. Like, it looks pretty good. Like, the floor looks pretty good. It's just a matter of getting Long through. I did this in a 3-max, so it's not like I'm trying to get cute in MME or something like that. It just seemed like a different lineup construction that people won't go to, just because I think they stop around 6,700 and they don't really take the time down there. So trying to be a little bit different. Obviously, this is a higher 6-6 percentage, so I feel like doing something a little bit out of the ordinary for me, is going to be the way to go in this type of event.
So at 7,100, Adam Hadwin gives me a little bit of interest. Now, he burned me last week. It was pretty tough to watch. I think he was 4 under going into 18 and then doubled 18 and was right on the cut line most of Friday, and then just bombed it, I think, the last few holes. But surprisingly, his extended approach numbers over his last few events look really, really solid. I mean, over 12% of his approaches have been within 6 feet. 22% within 12 feet. Over 55% of his approaches, inside of 24 feet in that same time span. Looking at the strokes gained snapshot, though, over these past few events that he's been in, surprisingly, the putter is what has been letting him down. He lost nearly a stroke on average at the Wyndham, and he gained at the 3M, but prior to that, he lost again on the greens. So, that's not something we're used to seeing from Adam Hadwin.
Yeah.
Normally, that's a strong suit for him. So, I don't mind really riding those strong approach numbers.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think I forgot about him because I think I did mention him last night on the Roto Grinder show.
Yeah.
His approach numbers did look good, and he missed the cut. Was it on the number or just outside?
It was on the number.
On the number. Yeah, I do like him. He was, 8,400 or something like that last week. Now it drops down to
all the way to
7,100.
7,100.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is for the people that, at least some of the courses that I tried comparing this to. One was looking at the Valspar, and obviously he won there 2 years ago. It had another strong finish this year. So I do like it from that perspective. The placement of the tee shots, the irons tend to be pretty good. They've shown that they've been good of late, and just the putter has been cold. So yeah, I can get behind that. I think I did have him down there.
And then, really, like you said, there's not a ton that interests me here. I always am a Kisner homer, so I can definitely get behind some Kisner at 7,300.
Yeah.
And then once we get into 75 and above, I think it's kind of standard stuff. Neiman at 75, Sungjae at 75.
Don't play Rafa Cabrera Bio for anyone looking at my screen right now. He withdrew.
Yeah.
He's got some baby swag coming, I think. His wife's due for twins also, something crazy. So don't play Rafa.
But if you want to hit that high 7, you can.
Yeah, so for me, I'm going straight back to Leishman, coming off a good finish at the St. Jude after the miscut at the British Open. Louis Oosthuizen at 7,900. I am gaining traction on as of Tuesday when I was leading up to that show, digging into these guys. Like, I'm not going to play any Shane Lowry. He's coming in with okay form. Like, even going into the British Open was good form. But I don't know where he's at. I don't know what. And from everyone I've heard, everyone thinks he's a contrarian play, which he probably was. But now if everyone's going to play him because he's contrarian, what's his ownership going to be like? I can actually pull up what he's projected at. Give me a second. He is still drunk. He needs to be drunk. I think if he's drunk, this is positive for him. Any of his owners will, they're projecting at 4% ownership, which I think is going to be low from what I've heard. If people end up not playing him, then so be it. I don't really miss out on anything. But everyone else in this range, man, Sabatini is super strong. I have a ton of Sabatini. Leishman I do like. Woodland is fine. I don't think I'm as high on him as other people this week. I do like him. I think he's fine. I'm not worried about the baby narrative and all this stuff of him losing sleep, but I do like other guys around him more. I mean, Rory Sabatini's been playing as good as anyone this year. I think he has one missed cut all year. His numbers look good. If I pull him up real quick, and just looking at like key traditional stats, I can refresh it. Last week, 83% green regulation. Going back to the Rocket Mortgage, 72%. He's been right around 60% for the entire season, 67%. So 2/3 of his approaches. And then he had that run back in kind of early March. And he went 18th, 39th, 36th, 10th, 18th, 5th, 6th, 27th, 43. And we just saw a 16th place at the British Open and a 6th place last week. I don't see any reason not to play him on this event. He's just playing good. He's 7,700. He's not the longest guy, but again, you don't need the length here. I just gave those people a bump. Been on, I'll probably pass on. So if you're looking at my screen, I got just that high 7K range. It's pretty easy for me this week.
Okay. Did you go on Neiman any?
I didn't. I'm gonna play him.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like Neiman a decent bit. He's probably my favorite in that mid range there, but Sabatini, that makes a lot of sense. Looking back through his form coming in, I didn't realize it was that consistent. And wasn't he like 90, 100 last week or something?
Yeah, but it was a weaker field. I mean, there's some of these prices I can get behind them dropping, but like Adam Hadwin dropping, I feel like he still should have been in that high 7K range based on where he was last week. Sabatini, they priced him at a range because he was so good compared to the field, so that doesn't really shock me.
So Sabatini, that's interesting. I'm gonna look at him a little bit more. I appreciate that.
Play some Sabatini, man. And thank you for your Bryce Garnett call last week. That was probably the only reason that I did okay on DraftKings.
Hey,
I mean, Sloan made the cut, and Svensson obviously did fine. Neither one of them just completely blew up the scene and made someone a ton of money, but Garnett did for the most part.
Yeah.
But I missed the Keimer piece. Keimer, I played. He shot 5 over the second day.
brutal.
I think it was 4 under, looking pretty solid. That lineup was looking really good. And then, because I think I had Hovland in it and Paul Casey. And then Keimer shot +5 Friday to knock that to a 5-6. It pretty much hung on to min cash, but which I kind of would take at that point. But it still sucks. But I'm happy to play the Garnett for a 6th place finish. I was not going to do that prior to the Wednesday stream. So kudos on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
A couple other guys. I like the Leishman call. Woodland, I probably will not be on. Again, more than likely just doing one lineup here, so got to be a little bit more picky with my calls. But Lowry at 79, I will gladly go to. I know, obviously, there's a lot of conversation about, all these narratives pop up with Woodland. It's twins, and with Lowry, he wins the Open. Is he still drunk? I don't know.
He should be.
He should be. But at any rate, I mean, sure, he won the British Open. That's fine. But that was nearly a month ago, perhaps, I believe. And prior to that, his form was really, really good. I mean, his worst finish was a T34, the Irish Open. And then he's got 2 other T10s included in that. Overall, his numbers look pretty solid across the board. And I think if we're talking about a course where we might get a little weather, we might get some wind, Lowry at 4% to me is just, it seems like an easy pick, especially over the likes of Usti or even Woodland. That's a good swerve, at least for me, on Woodland. Leishman I still like, and I may sort of bounce back between there, but I don't really buy the, let's not play him because we're worried about if he forgot how to play golf in his 3-week binge.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case. I just don't want to play him. The people that are coming with the other narratives of whether they want to play him or not play him because of drinking or whatever it is, that's on them. They can figure that out. I mean, he did start off the season extremely cold and had a good run up to the British Open. I just feel like that's got to be a taper off. It's the end of the season in his mind. He won the final major of the year. There's a break before the Euro Rolex race to the freaking Dubai thing. I mean, there's Rolexes and Dubais and Bentleys. It's a lot of things happening. FedEx Cups.
Yeah.
So I do think from my perspective,
he could win $10 million though, right?
No.
No, I like Lowry. I'll probably.
That's fine. Play him in your single.
Yeah, I mean, 4%. It would probably more than anything be a leverage play, in my opinion, and not a bad one at that. Just with his form coming in, so.
All right. Well, hit me with some 8K guys. In this range for me, the one guy that I'm gonna kick myself either. If he does really well, I'm not going to kick myself. But if the guy I'm pivoting from does really well, I'll be kicking myself. And if the guy I'm pivoting to plays terrible, I'm going to be kicking myself. So, I was going to play Hideki.
Sounds like a mess.
It's a mess. I should probably withdraw. I was going to play a good bit of Hideki coming off of 2 missed cuts. His iron game, we know his long-term form is good. 8,400 on this golf course, man, it looked great. And then someone sent me a question. I don't know if Billy is in the chat, but he sent me a question saying, rate these guys, don't worry about salary. And he literally threw up Morikawa and Matsuyama. And I didn't even think twice about it, but I was like, Morikawa is playing better. That's the easy call. So then I started thinking about it. I was like, why would I be so apt to play Matsuyama when Morikawa is playing so great, even if he's been playing a lot of golf? Why would I just avoid that just for really no reason, just besides he's been playing a lot of golf? I mean, his numbers look great, and I understand that we have to bump them down kind of a little bit based on his limited sample size and the fields he's been playing against. But I mean, he's been on a crazy tear, and the stats, the approach stats, everything behind it looks good, which doesn't really matter who you're playing against. So yeah, he's the one guy in this range that I've started adding more to, pivoting off of Matsuyama. I'm still gonna play some Matsuyama, some Hideki, but Morikawa was one that I basically answered my own question. He's, how would you compare these two? Morikawa over Matsuyama. He's playing better at the current moment. Why would you stop?
Yeah.
Why would you stop playing him?
I mean, I would probably go Morikawa, just because of how hot his irons have been.
It's like reverse bias almost, like reverse anti-bias, where Morikawa's been playing so great. Hideki, he's going to return to his prior form. We know that.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just hop on that. Well, why would you hop on that and exclude Morikawa? Like, play both if you want to do both. But to me, I honestly was skipping over Morikawa and rethought it. I don't know what his ownership's going to be. I can't imagine very high. Let's check that out. It's got to be 8%. What? So in DraftKings, he's at around 14 or 15%. I didn't check how much different his price is on FanDuel, but he's at 12%. So
this is Morikawa or
Morikawa. Matsuyama is about a quarter of that, or about a quarter less than that. So that's my two thoughts on that. Just Morikawa was someone that I was just passing over, looking for. I don't know what I was looking for. I mean, we know what Hideki can do, but for me to just blindly say I'm going to play Hideki over Morikawa, and he called me out on it. I mean, he sent me the message saying, how would you rate him? It's like, I would take Morikawa right now. So
yeah,
that's where I stand. In this entire range, I think I just have Adam Scott. I have a small share of Molinari, thanks to Giant Beer, who's in the chat, mentioned his strong long irons. He's going to be extremely low owned. I mean, Molinari is going to be 5%. Yeah. So that's where I stand. I know you have a big love for Jason Day. I'll probably have some Billy Horschel. I didn't mention him, but outside of that, it's a clear-cut range. I'm gonna, try not to hate myself for playing Morikawa.
No, I like the Morikawa call. That's good to me. It makes a lot of sense logically. I mean, you're drawn to the Matsuyama name, and it's hard to sort of justify to yourself the Morikawa call. But just looking at the numbers, if you sort of turn that bias blocker on, like we talked about a long time ago,
and almost subconsciously, when you think about major pricing and you think about a big time event like a major or WGC or now the FedEx Cup playoffs, and you go down to the 8K range and you see a Matsuyama name, I mean, even when you don't really try to do that, your mind's probably kicking and saying, Hideki's $2,000 cheaper than he normally is in these events. Morikawa, theoretically, maybe he's $2K cheaper than where he should be priced in this event. So, yeah, I'm going to have some of both, but I did want to mention, what?
At least $1,000 cheaper.
Well, I'm just saying, like, maybe, I mean, Morikawa's better than Matsuyama. I mean, maybe he ends up way better than him in his career.
Yeah.
Maybe he's 12K in 2 years where Brooks is this week. 8K range. What's your thoughts in this tier? Then we can hit the 9s and 10s. And unfortunately, Skylar's not on the podcast or on the live stream, so he can't tout Brooks. But I won't be doing that. I'm not going to pay 12K. So hit me with the 8s and 9s.
I got you. So Billy Horschel, even 8K. I love me some Billy, and it's just this time of year. I don't know what it is, but he is just plays solid golf. And I feel like that price still seems a little low. Like perhaps he should be a bit more. Like maybe the price of Morikawa. I don't know. And I don't know if he's going to be popular because of where he's at. But at any rate, I like some Billy Horschel at 8K. Like you said, I can easily get on Jason Day at 8,200. He's lost strokes in his last 2 or 3 events, I believe, which is not normal Jason Day. And similar to Hadwin, we're seeing off the tee to green numbers, green regulation numbers being pretty strong across the board. And where they're not getting it done is where they normally do. And I'll much rather put faith in sort of his historical abilities as far as around the green and on the green putting than this current run that he's in. So I'll gladly go today at 8,200. And then probably the only other guy, I will say this, the 2 other guys I'm interested in, Bryson at 86, and I'll go to Molinari at 87. Yeah. I just think that he, especially at 4%, I mean, talking about a 4% Lowry and then a 4% Molinari is just, I feel like that's a little bit different. Molinari, obviously they both won Open Championships, but Molinari sort of had his resurgent year last year, and he finished 11th at this last British Open. Hasn't played a ton, hasn't really had a ton of other top finishes, but we know the quality ball striker he is. We know how good he is with long irons, hitting greens, especially smaller than tour average greens. I don't mind that call at all with Molinari for sure.
Okay. All right, let's hit the 9s and 10s. We'll finish it up. We'll do a couple giveaways. Actually, last week's giveaway winner, Johnny Appleseed, he actually messaged me and said he wanted to donate the shirt to someone else in here. So we'll actually have an extra giveaway this week that we'll get to in just a minute. Jay Blaze asks, no love for Ian Poulter. Yeah, Poulter's been going the wrong direction for me, so I won't be playing any of him. Only hit 54% of his greens at the St. Jude, and actually in his last 10 terms, like even if you go back further, I mean, his extended approach numbers are awful. So no Poulter for me. Usually a fan of playing Poulter at 76, 74, 100, around that price range in these events, but yeah, he's been going the wrong direction, so no thanks. Let's hit the 9K. I'll be kind of short and sweet for me. I'll just, if you guys are looking at my screen, I'll start from the top. I am playing Tommy Fleetwood. I am playing Justin Rose. I am playing Webb Simpson. I am not playing Ricky. I am playing Cantley. I am playing Kuchar. I am playing Woods. I have a lot of lineups condensing in this 9K range. Yeah. Trying to leverage. I mean, personally, if you were to give me 1v1s on a lot of these guys versus these top tier, I don't think they're that far off. I know Vegas odds will always give guys that are coming off wins. So like a Rory, a Brooks, DJ used to be, 10-1. But I really think the salary savings is actually more beneficial than them just winning in this event. If this was like, and I didn't get to mention this on last night's show, but the any of the events without a cut, I would probably even throw in the Masters to a degree, just because it's essentially no cut. But if there's a no cut event, I would be more inclined to pay up for a Brooks, a Rory, a DJ, because you really need the winner. And if they just happen to be the winner, then you're not going to win a GPP without having them. But in this event, there still is a cut, even though it's going to be a higher 6-6. To me personally, the savings of more than $2,000 off Brooks, I mean, if you think about the difference in that is, a Landry up to Adam Scott, Mackenzie Hughes up to Morikawa. Like, $2,000 is a big difference, and I think people get a little bit lost up here. It's just because the pricing is, but at $2,000, that's a big difference. That's a huge difference. So to me, I'm going to be loading up in the 9K range. I think in the 10K, I have a piece of Rahm. I haven't decided what to do with Justin Thomas. I don't have any of them currently, but yeah, 9K. Sorry to burst anyone's bubble, but I should just highlight this entire area. Got them all, except for Ricky Fowler. It'll probably be the winner. That'll probably, the one guy I don't play in that range wins. So any thoughts here and the 10K range, and then we'll get to some giveaways.
So I agree with majority of those takes, I won't be on any Tiger Woods, though. Probably not any Kuchar either. But Tommy and Rose specifically, I think is probably one of my overall favorite plays this week. And then Cantley at 9,200. I am curious what his ownership is going to be, just because he's kind of sandwiched in this whole group.
Who's that?
Cantley.
He's going to be high. He's going to be really high.
Okay.
I see him 25% on FanDuel. On
25.
DraftKings, he has got to be around 22. But I'll pull it up.
So.
Cantley, 23%. Yeah, he's super popular. I mean, look at his finishes, look at his stats. People, I mean, you don't have to be a freaking rocket scientist to look down any list of stats and say, Cantley looks like he's as good as Rory McIlroy on paper, but he's down here at 9,200. So yeah, he's going to be, and his finishes look good. It's not just doing it with irons or ball striking in general. So yeah, he should be, Cantley should be really popular.
Okay. And then I like you said, I can hit the 10Ks real quick. Rahm really is my only guy up there.
Yeah.
JT I'll pass on, and then 12K Brooks. I mean, Rory, DJ, I'll just easily kind of pass on those guys. Like you said, the separation between those and, the 9K guys is not as large as the price would indicate. If you look down into the 8s, I think it's more indicative, but I can easily be happy with Justin Rose over most of those guys. So
yeah, they're all relatively similar to me. Like, even I'm not giving anyone a strong lean based on their stats. Like Simpson, someone brought up the salary difference between like where he was at the U.S. Open, the British Open, down in the 7Ks, and now he's 9,400. But I mean, he's been consistent, but he's been playing extremely good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't view salary. I'm not as strict on my salary use with some of these guys. I did mention 2K off of Brooks. Yeah, I care about that. But like to say Webb, oh, you can't play him because he's been priced up $1,700. I don't think like that. I'm still looking at his like potential, not where he's been and where he should be valued. This isn't NBA, so. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, man. We'll rotate over to the giveaways and spin the wheel. We'll give away this first shirt first, and then we'll just keep an eye on chat. We'll try to answer any of these things. DJ will be in his FGWC lineup. Good luck with that. He's got a higher percentage to make the cut this week, though, which is good. And the wheel doesn't want to come up. We'll get it.
Never wants to come up.
Yeah, I don't know why. At least your box filled.
Hey, I know, right? Good night.
Did anyone mention Tony the Tiger? Tony Finau or Tiger the Tiger?
I'm sure it's Tony Finau.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what people nickname people nowadays. I don't have any real thoughts on Finau. He's been breaking course records apparently, but I haven't really been playing him. Looking through some of his numbers. Good finish at the British, obviously, but prior to that, I mean, a string of missed cuts, a couple good finishes that popped here and there. So nothing crazy. He's probably fine. He's probably a good GPP play. His ownership, from what I'm looking at, is around 13%, actually higher than what I thought. But, yeah, he's fine. I mean, nothing really stands out as great for him coming in this week, but he's been playing, sporadically good. Good finish at the British Open. So, all right, let's do the first one. So the giveaway from last week was a blue. I got it written up. Red T-shirt. So this is for a red T-shirt. The keyword is going to be FGWC. We'll just do that. So keyword is FGWC. Yeah, this is a red T-shirt for. Oh, you were reminding me probably. I have to have notes. FGWC is the keyword. Type that into the chat, and then we'll roll it and see who wins, and then we'll do two more this evening as we're wrapping up the season.
Yeah, while this is rolling, good luck to any baggers in there with FGWC tickets. I know Beer's got 2, and Is Nick, you got 2 also, or just 1? Not sure. But at any rate, good luck to everybody competing in that this week.
We'll be following it. I don't know when it posts tomorrow. You can definitely drop the link. I know Giant Beer will probably drop the link for us, but certainly put it on Twitter or let us follow it if we're not already qualified to play. It'll probably be on the website somewhere, but that'd be fun to follow. Is rough bluegrass? I don't know. It's actually didn't look up what the rough is. They have fescue off the fairway, obviously bent grass greens, but I don't know what the rough was. I'd have to look it up for you, man. Let me try to find it. 1 second. While people, why does it matter? I mean,
the rough is down. Anyways,
it is. So this is. Let's see if it says. The rough is bluegrass. Yes. 1 1/4 inches. It's not 1 1/2 inches. 1 1/4. Make sure you guys add that to your model. We're gonna roll it. Let's see if we can give a winner today. Jay Blaze 39. He's been complaining he hasn't been winning. And now he's won. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin this as I write his name down.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Thank you.
Ro Holman. Thanks, man.
Ro Holman.
Gifted 5 subs to L. Burgess, Redman, Barry S., Teddy KGB, and Johnny Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed giving away, regifting the t-shirt from last week, and he got the good karma to win a sub.
There you go.
He gifted a sub. So, Ro Holman. Give a thanks to Ro Holman if you guys receive one of those. Appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
I think Ro Holman gave away 5 last week also.
Did he?
I think so.
I have to keep a tally. So, Jay Blaze, you ran a red t-shirt. I will chat with you and get your size. Another red t-shirt will go off to... The keyword is gift. Apparently everyone's gifting today. This is great. It's karma. I'm assuming Nick or Giant Beer are going to take it down. Probably Nick. He's been gifting so much. And now Ro Holman, if you're in the FGWC, or anything you're in, hopefully this brings good karma for you to take it down. So, gift is the keyword. Go ahead and type that into the chat. That's awesome, man. Wow. It's good to see. Good to see.
Drew, do you have your raid individual ready?
I don't. I had it up scrolling through it. Try to find someone. Bring more good karma. We'll find somebody on here. So give that like 2 seconds. Nick gifted him some good cash plays this week. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll it, and then we'll do one more. And as it's spinning and we do the giveaway, I'll go find someone to raid, and then I'll pull that up as we wrap this whole show up. Raid.
They're jacked about the raid.
Doozy 350. Congrats on the red t-shirt. Name also sounds familiar, so I don't know if you've won a t-shirt. But if not, go ahead and send me a message and I'll get your size and address and we'll send that out. Give it away. He has one. Perfect. This is a fantastic. The season of giving. Man, this one's easy.
What you got?
The keyword for this one, Doozy is giving away his t-shirt that he just won. So thanks to Doozy. He already got one. So keyword is Liberty. Type in Liberty. Gives me an extra 2 minutes to find a really good raidee.
I like Wise this week. Stack bundles. I know we ran over him at 6,900. I mentioned him in the column this week. He should be pretty low owned, I think, and popped a little bit last week. Sort of faded. I think it was on Saturday a little bit. Shot 1 or 2 over, but had 3 rounds. Sub 68, I think. So Wise at 69. I certainly can get behind a little bit. Stack bundles.
All right, I'm rolling Liberty. I'm trying to find someone. The guy I just clicked on, he's Russian. I didn't understand him, so that one's not going to work. L. Burgess 18 also sounds really familiar, so we're giving away.
We're giving away to like the same 7 people.
Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme over here. I'm spinning it anyways. I got to spin something. There you go. Just send me a message, man. We'll get you that. Army Green t-shirt. We actually haven't given many of these away. We made a nice small sliver of this. So it's the Army Green with the American flag. So Army Green is going to be the keyword real quick. Here we go. Yeah, Army Green. I actually really like it. Didn't work today, though. Stupid. This one is going to be
Pitiful.
FedEx.
FedEx?
FedEx.
Because you're going to ship it FedEx?
No, I'm not. That's too expensive. That costs at least $7. So FedEx is the keyword there, and I should, by the time this one is given away, I will have a ratee. And if the guy really sucks, or the girl, I apologize. I can't really vet these people prior because they're not always streaming. So I think we've been like 50-50 on getting good ones.
Yeah, the one really last week ones. Was good. They were excited when we came in. That guy, right?
Yeah.
Mike, this isn't Pornhub.
I think he's English. He's singing. Can you hear that?
Yeah. He seems energetic. Right. We'll give him that.
I don't think he is leaving. Yeah, he's not. I thought he was saying goodbye. All right, we're giving this one away. This sounds strange as usual. Yeah, we're hitting this guy. We're going to do it with this guy. I'm rolling it. Stack Bundles 1187. Another one that sounds very familiar. Maybe I just talk to you or I see your name a lot or you've won. So, but Army Green, if you already have a blue one or something, take it. So Stack Bundles wins the Army Green one.
Yeah, no, he was just saying that he was hoping to win.
Perfect. So just DM me on Twitter, man. Or send me a message in Slack. I think I've seen you in there. So either way, send me that. I'll get your address and size, and we'll send it out. So we got Jay Blaze, L. Burgess, and Stack Bundles as the giveaway winners this week. Congratulations. I am now going to go ahead and queue up this guy. He sounds pretty fun. He's got about 21 people watching him. Fantastic. Fantastic work by this guy singing. Let's see. And then I'll queue this up, and then I will sign us out of here. All right, we're good to go. So, any final thoughts, Jacob?
No, nothing really off the bat. I think we
touched on a lot, so
covered it for the most part. I think it's going to be good. I'm excited to see how this course plays out. I know we haven't seen it in a few years, and see some quality golf. Hopefully some green screens with it.
Notorious, we don't want to gift Orange. This is very normal behavior for him, actually, so don't worry about that. We'll probably see him on the PGA Tour tomorrow, stealing someone's golf ball or running off the golf course or being escorted. So
there's going to be a streamer that runs towards Tiger as he's about to tee off.
Good luck with that. So, all right, guys. Appreciate it, as always, tuning into the Fantasy Golf Bag live stream. Hopefully you guys had fun this week or tonight. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate Roholman, Nick, Mike for donating all the subs. Again, guys, if you haven't already, you can thank them if you received one. That was awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the people appreciate getting some love even if they don't even know you. So very, very, very nice. I am going to hop over here. We're going to do a raid if you guys haven't joined us before. We basically hop into someone else's channel. You can hang out if you want or you don't have to. Hopefully he's entertaining. You can message him about golf. That's usually what Orange Man does. That's where he gets his final pivots. But as always, guys, really appreciate it. And I think I hit it.
Yep, you did.
My bad.
This dude is in the zone.
Dang, dude, he's got a serious.
Dude, is he cracked out of his mind?
You see his name?
Oh my god. This is ridiculous.
This guy's actually pretty good.
This is ridiculous.
I'm gonna send him a tip real quick through the. See if this works. See if this works real quick. He's gonna flip. I just donated like $3 or something like that. This guy. All right, I'll cut it off. This is pretty good though.
Yeah. Oh my god.
All right, man. I'm out of here. See you, dude.